Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some sales information that has come out about Silent Hill F and Atelier Resleriana. We'll also take a look at Sonic Racing Crossworlds. All three of these games released this past week, and we got some initial first week sales numbers for all three of them. The primary source we'll be looking at is Famitsu, coming from Gematsu. Famitsu is a Japanese gaming magazine. They report physical game sales in Japan, so these are Japanese only, physical only. So it's a small slice of the overall picture, but it gives us some data to look at, and it's better than nothing. Beggars can't be choosers. So you might have seen, it was widely reported, Silent Hill F sold 1 million copies in 3 days. For some series context, the Silent Hill 2 remake sold 1 million copies in 4 days. So pretty similar trajectory, but Silent Hill F actually did it faster. So it's done really, really well. Actually, I think it's done better than really anyone expected. Silent Hill 2 remake had the benefit of being a remake of one of the most beloved games from Konami's catalog, definitely the most popular and well-known Silent Hill game. This is a brand new Silent Hill game from a brand new Konami and a brand new development team, proving that they can make a great game and that people are still interested in the Silent Hill franchise. It's a pretty incredible achievement, and it bodes well for Silent Hill going forward. Taking a look at some of those sales for the physical games in Japan from Famitsu, we can see that Silent Hill F debuted on PlayStation 5 with 57,475 retail copies sold. Back in October of 2024, when Silent Hill 2 Remake launched, it debuted to 29,374, so almost doubling it here. So Silent Hill F doing doubly better in Japan's physical market and selling 1 million worldwide, digital, physical, in 3 days. Meanwhile, this same week, Sonic Racing Crossworlds released. Surprisingly, today I learned Sonic is not popular in Japan. I did not know this. I would think, Sonic is a global icon, a Japanese character, Sega, very popular. But Sonic in Japan, not so popular. Sonic debuted, according to Famitsu, Japanese physical copies with 7,765 copies sold across PlayStation and Nintendo. Not so good for our blue blur, but some information later in the video will show just how powerful Sonic's global brand is, and even though while he might not be performing in Japan that strongly, the rest of us can make up for the lack of momentum he's having in Japan. Now this is the really interesting one. Atelier Resleriana came out this week. This is the second game from Gust and Koei Tecmo in the Atelier series. Earlier this year, Atelier Yumiya launched, and its first week sales back in March of this year, was 61,074. That's even higher than Silent Hill F. So that's really impressive. Problem is, it seems like Atelier Resleriana didn't do quite as well. In fact, it did a lot worse. Only selling 22,279 copies in its first week. And later in this video, we'll see some more information on just how poorly it really seems like it is doing, unfortunately. It seems like maybe Yumiya had all of the momentum, all of the marketing, the big push that Gust was having earlier. Koei Tecmo really put their full force behind Yumiya. As someone who's not really that big into Atelier, just played my first Atelier game this year, the first Atelier Ryza game. Really enjoyed it, and I'm interested in seeing where I want to go next, if I want to just continue with the Ryza series or maybe check out one of these newer games that are coming out. Just from the perspective of someone who's not in the Atelier fan base, it definitely felt like Yumiya was the one they were pushing. Yumiya was the one I was like, oh, this is the new trilogy that's going to start, right? Like, this is the new mainline Atelier franchise. This is the one we should all get behind. This is the one we should all be looking out for. But turns out the Atelier fans really don't like that one and, aren't really behind it. And now that this one is out, even though it's selling worse, the reception to it has been so much stronger, so much so that actually Yumiya is like unappealing to me now. And Resleriana looks like the one that I want to check out next if I was going to hop into a more modern Atelier game instead of just continuing Ryza or maybe going back to Sophie. People seem pretty strong about that one. But seeing the sales performance here, it seems like Koei Tecmo really did this game kind of dirty. You would think that this would be the one to push. This would be the one to get behind. But I'm guessing the thinking at Koei Tecmo and the thinking at Gust was that the format of Atelier Yumiya was so much more appealing to a mass market audience, to non-Atelier fans, right? In its open world design, I've seen that much at least. Whereas this more traditional Atelier game was more for the already existing fans. So maybe that's why that discrepancy is happening here. I would like to look into seeing how well a traditional Atelier game before Yumiya sold first week. That would provide us more context on just how big Atelier was before this bigger marketing push with Yumiya. Okay, so looking into it, Atelier Ryza 3, which is the third game in an established Atelier Ryza series. Now, I don't know about the gameplay styles or how people feel about Atelier Ryza 3 in terms of it being a traditional Atelier game or not. I'm going to guess that it being the third game in a series, in a sub-franchise series, means that the people checking it out are more of the hardcore Atelier games. Now, Atelier Ryza is the more popular recent entry into Atelier that was going for more of a mainstream audience even at that time. But that game sold 63,000 units in Japan first week, physical. So that's closer to Yumiya than it is to Resleriana. So that really also highlights just how bad this new version did. Now, for more context, Atelier Resleriana it's not a spin-off title. Apparently it's being billed as a mainline title. Problem is, there was a mobile game that had a very similar name. This is taking a lot of assets from that, a lot of stylings, it's in the same world, maybe even continuing the same story. All of that's going to confuse people and maybe even put some people off, thinking, oh, well, I didn't play the mobile game, so why would I check out this one? Instead, I'll check out Yumiya, which has no baggage. It's the start of a new franchise, a new sub-franchise, and you can just hop in without really having anything to worry about. Now, that does it for the Famitsu sales side of things, but I wanted to look at some more public numbers that we have to go off of so we can measure some of the more performance maybe in a global scale digitally by looking at the Steam global sales charts for the week of September 23rd to September 30th. Steam does this thing where it lists top games by revenue for a set week and locks in that chart so that you can look at it and see where games are debuting at its certain week that it releases. So if we take a look at the global chart, meaning all territories are taken into consideration for digital sales on Steam, you can see that Silent Hill F debuted at number 4. And considering the chart is by revenue, that includes free-to-play games and their microtransactions, and also the Steam Deck, which is sold directly on Steam. If we take away free-to-play games, we take away the Steam Deck, Silent Hill F really comes out at number 2, only behind EA Sports FC, which, if you don't know, is the new rebranding for FIFA, which is a huge fucking game. So Silent Hill F doing extremely well its first week on Steam. Sonic Racing Crossworlds debuted at number 11, which is also really good. I'm not going to worry about taking out the Steam Deck and the free-to-play games, but remember, Silent Hill F was at 4, Sonic Racing Crossworlds is at 11, Silent Hill F sold 1 million copies, Sonic Racing Crossworlds being at 11 on Steam alone. It's a really good sign, whereas earlier in the video we were talking about just how Sonic only sold a couple thousand, 7,000 units physically in Japan only. Goes to show the global dominance of Sonic, the global appeal of Sonic, and the difference between the global audience and the Japanese audience as far as it comes across for Sonic. So Sonic doing very well, on Steam at least. We don't really have public numbers for Nintendo or PlayStation or Xbox. There are some numbers on these storefronts. They have some charts you can look at. There are some review numbers you can get some information for. But just as far as top games by revenue relative to one another, I think Steam gives us the best picture that we can have, at least with public information. And to highlight how poorly Atelier Resleriana is doing, it's all the way down at number 83 on the Steam global sales charts for the week of September 23rd to September 30th. Down at 83. That's rough. Now, I don't have information for where the previous Atelier games debuted at, but I have a feeling it was not this far down. Some additional things we can look at as well are the SteamDB player count numbers for Atelier Resleriana, just to get some more information on how it's doing. I like to look at the concurrent all-time peaks. Seems like it's at 2,636 for Atelier Resleriana, and this compared to Yumiya, which got to 14,000 7 months ago. Kind of highlights that big difference on just how different the games are performing. You can look at Silent Hill F, which had a peak of 22,000 versus Silent Hill 2, which had a peak of 23,000. So definitely Silent Hill F is performing very similarly to Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 went on to sell 2 million copies 3 months after release. I'll be interested in seeing if Silent Hill F hits that number sooner than Silent Hill 2 did, but as of right now, from what we're seeing, it looks like it's tracking at least similarly on Steam. But remember, in Famitsu sales, it was double the physical reports, so numbers are kind of all over the place as far as what we can actually look at. We'll still have to wait for official confirmation for its sales. That's going to do it for this week on first week sales for Japanese releases. Silent Hill F dominating, Atelier Resleriana not doing so hot, Sonic Racing Crossworlds a little bit of a mixed bag. Globally, it's doing pretty well. In Japan, not so well, but that's pretty normal for Sonic. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video. If you want more coverage of the Japanese games industry, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment below. Are you picking up any of these games? What do you think about their sales performance so far? That's all. Goodbye.